Hey guys, Singles Only Podcast here. My name is Paul Farahvar, your host. This is the 200th episode of Singles Only Podcast. I don't really know what to say. I'm excited. I can't believe we've done 200 episodes. It's amazing. I really appreciate everyone listening and sticking around, and all the new people. Thank you for listening. Hope you like the podcast. I really want you guys to tell us what you think of the episodes, especially the recent ones. Now we're in quarantine, making a lot of adjustments, obviously, because it's really hard to have three people in a room physically right now. Just email me. It's just pfarahvar@gmail.com, or direct message me on Instagram or Facebook. My website, Paul F. Comedy, has all my information. If you want to support comedians and comedy right now, since we're all kind of out of work, you could buy a Better Call Paul shirt. I'm giving all the proceeds to comedians and the comedy club staff here in Chicago. So that's what I'm doing, because I bought a shit ton of shirts, Better Call Paul shirts, for the road, because I was booked up pretty much solidly for March, April, and May, and all those shows are pretty much gone right now. I don't know when the next live shows are, but please check paulfcomedy.com. They'll be on there. I am starting to do some more Zoom shows, and those are fun. If you are interested in having a Zoom show for you and your friends, message me as well. I'm gonna be doing that. Please continue to support this podcast and our sponsors. This one was a fun episode. JEANIE DOOGAN was back, and we touched base on some of the highlights of our journey together. She was on about 42 episodes of Singles Only with me, and she kind of shits on me as always. And then we got some other surprises coming up for the next episode as well. So these are kind of like a look back episodes, but they're live. This one was recorded recently, within the last week, so you guys will love it. Please continue to listen and subscribe. Review us if you haven't recently or wherever. It really helps if you review us on iTunes or wherever you're listening. And thank you, seriously, from the bottom of my heart. This is amazing that I've done these episodes, and we still have so many listeners. My God, we're on the Laugh Factory channel, and my own channel on SoundCloud and iTunes, and all the other places that have us, iHeartRadio. It's been really cool. And I can't believe that I'm doing I hated podcasts when this started. I was doing it originally to promote my show, which was called Singles Only at Laugh Factory here in Chicago, which is now called Drink Date Laugh. And then it turned into something so cool. And I've learned so much from these podcasts and from our guests, and I've had so much fun. And I don't know what the future holds for the podcast. I'm going to be honest with you. Originally, I was going to do 200 and call it quits, pull a Jerry Seinfeld at our peak, so to speak. I can't believe I just compared myself to Jerry Seinfeld. But anyway, I've talked for shit too long. Here's the episode, and thank you so much. Please continue to support our sponsors. Listen, I told you I had a special treat for listeners, loyal listeners of the show, Singles Only. And here it is. You heard me talk about the book Perfect Pain, which is a memoir by my friend Karam Haddad. It's an awesome book about his journey, his life journey, of how he had this perfect life on paper, family, successful career, money, everything, but he had an underlying pain that he didn't address. And this book addresses that. It addresses his life in an amazing way. He had such a cool life. And he had some personal demons that he struggled with, and through therapy, he conquers that. It's a great book. I don't want to ruin it for you guys. Read it, perfectpain.com. But here's what I'm going to do. I talked to the author, Karam Haddad, and he is going to let me give away a book every week. Here's what you have to do to get a free book. Subscribe to the podcast and give us a review. Once you've given us a review, 5-star review, message me and tell me you did it, and I'm going to send you the book. One a week. We're going to do this until we run out of books. I've got 22 to give away, it sounds like. So perfectpain.com if you want to buy the book, available on Amazon and available in audiobook too. But if you are a listener of this podcast, all you got to do is review this podcast and then message me and say, hey, I reviewed it. Or if there's a way to contact you, I'll figure it out. And you're going to get a book sent to you. You don't even have to leave your house. You're going to get a free book. Once a week, I'm doing this for the book Perfect Pain by Karam Haddad. It's a great book. I want everyone to read it. I want to make this a bestseller and get the Farahvar bump, the singles only bump. So buy it today or give us a review and get your free copy. And when you like it, don't lend it to other people. Make them buy it too, because it supports this author and this journey. Perfect Pain, Karam Haddad. You know I'm a lawyer. I talk about it often. But when I have legal questions or I have legal issues that I'm facing, I go to my friend Scott Shapiro. So if you've been injured on the job, need compensation, you might be entitled to money that you don't even know about. And that holds true for workers' compensation, personal injury, all that stuff. My friend Scott Shapiro has been helping injured workers and doing entertainment law for almost 20 years now. You need to contact him, 312-648-8800, or email him at scott@scottshapirolegal.com. He is legitimately one of the best people and best lawyers I know. If you call him, you tell him Singles Only sent you or I sent you, it's a free consultation. Granted, it's a free consultation anyway, probably, but boom, just throw my name so I can stay in business here. He is a full service law firm. In addition to workers' compensation cases, work injuries, he handles litigation. He handles all your legal needs for entertainment law. So those of you who are entertainers out there, have legal questions, he's your guy. Again, free consultation. Don't take a chance and not get a lawyer. 312-648-8800, or check out his website, scottshapirolegal.com. It's time for another edition of Singles Only. We are going into the new generation of Zoom. I think we're recording. We won't know until this is all over. So hopefully it's recording. Special episode in honor of 200 episodes. We have a dear friend of mine I'm going to introduce in a second. But if you haven't already, subscribe, do all that stuff I always tell you to do. And check out our sponsors, as always. They've been with us this whole time. And without further ado, please welcome JEANIE DOOGAN. Hey, JEANIE!
Hey, Paul!
Look at us millennials. She's like,
wow. Look at you wearing a t-shirt for your first video recording. You don't even have pants on right now, that is for sure, if you're wearing a t-shirt. Do you know that commercial where they're on the first date and he's like, you look great. And she's like, you look comfortable. That's you right now.
This is a new shirt and I always wear t-shirts. I always have a jacket on, so I had to be consistent. Oh, okay. It's the brand, JEANIE.
It's the brand. It's a Fruit of the Looms brand, Paul. That's what that is.
This is high-end stuff. See, it's a 7-Eleven shirt. But it's like higher end.
If this was 10 years ago, I would say your people would appreciate that, but I won't even go there right now.
Oh, you've been canceled within a minute of this thing starting.
Okay. All right. I just saw a live comedy show where a very well-known comedian pulled out his ball sack on the screen and juggled it around. So if anybody gives me shit about that, you can go fuck yourself.
So we are in this new world. Speaking of fucking ourselves, and yeah, and this I wrote on Instagram that there's going to be so many divorces on the other side of this. I wish I practiced divorce law. And you are quarantined with a family of 17 kids, 6 animals, and your husband, and yet you look great. How's this working out?
I got dressed up. I didn't wear a free t-shirt that I got from a cannon at a street festival. It's not easy. Thankfully, my husband works nights, so he sleeps a lot of times during the day, so I don't really see him. So it works out for everybody.
There are.
He's still working. He's an essential worker, unlike you.
We are not. Well, you are technically, I see.
No, it is. It's hard. It's hard for everybody, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, the last thing you want to do is be stuck at home with your family, for the most part. But it's okay. It's all right. I can't complain. I mean, I can. I will later. But
Sometimes. It's actually funny. For those of you who don't follow Jeannie on Instagram, I highly recommend you find the stories of when she was messing with her husband who was trying to sleep. And they're still married. Her third marriage is working out great. So
it's second. We're going on 4 years.
Wow.
But I do keep putting on this podcast to deal with you in case I do ever find myself single again. I want to base people that know me.
Well, I had 2 things on that. Number one, on the flip side, I am quarantining alone, and I've been happy. I've married friends calling me like, "How is it like? Tell us." Like, it's like I'm telling them a story like about how I get to watch whatever I want, and like I don't have to watch kids shows. And I talked to my brother who has kids, and he's struggling, but he's also an essential worker. But to your second point, 4 years ago, this all started 4 years ago, I suppose, because you were on episode 9 right before you got married.
That's right. That's right.
You act like you didn't know that. I did the research.
I knew that because I remembered very clearly because I was getting ready to break hearts all over the world by getting married again.
Yeah.
And I came on even though I wasn't technically single. And the funny thing is, I tried talking to my husband. I said, you should come on and let us interview you because he was a bachelor until he was 45 years old.
Yeah.
I go, you should come on and talk about that because Paul is now like 52 and he's still a bachelor. Maybe you can. So he was living a life very much like you, except he wasn't really a scumbag with the women. You didn't date much.
And you say that I was a scumbag. And on episode 117, we had a person that dated me on, and you were like all excited to get all this dirt on me. Mm-hmm. And Jen Bowser was like, nope, he's still cool and all this stuff. I paid her
We've also been through this, that like you're like a serial killer who collects things after the crime to like, and you collect these women and these relationships. And I can't believe some of these women that date you because they're all wonderful people. But you like collect them and you keep them as friends to come to your comedy shows.
I don't have them come to my comedy shows. That's the one thing that I definitely am against. Well, you mean after we're dating? Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, after.
That's how you get.
Not during dating. None of them want to see your comedy. I mean, that's a good way to break up with them. Have them see.
Come on stage and talk to them. Like, yeah, I just broke up with a girl. I'm like, that's how you find out about it.
I actually just meant have them see your comedy and then they'll never want to talk to you again.
Let's say like the girl's name was like Becky. I'd be like, yeah, I just broke up with my girlfriend. Her name is Becky. And then you see a girl like run out of the show. Like, I didn't want to learn like this. But that actually brings us to a point that I wanted to make. Do you remember the episode? This is kind of like turning into a flashback.
Yeah.
Where we had someone break up with their person they were dating on.
Yeah, whatever. Do you ever know how that actually turned out?
That was Jess Niche on episode 110. And I don't know what happened with it, but I think she's dating him again because I saw pictures with him.
Okay.
But
you have to be careful with what you're assuming. Because
we'll find out. Call in. We have her here right now. What if I just brought her in? Surprise. No, it's not like that. But no.
Wait, can I just for 1 minute that the fact that your imaginary girlfriend has to have the whitest name possible, can you not even give your mother the like just satisfaction of having like a girlfriend with just some type of Persian name? Like, could you not even have your mother the satisfaction of having an imaginary girlfriend with a Persian name, please?
My parents
would. With the Sarah and the Becky,
So Becky was the name that I would go to at all times. And I think we've talked about it on the podcast before, but number one, all my guitars are named Becky 1 through 9, and the bass is called Basie. But I used to yell the name Becky at bars, and if someone turned around, like that was like my pickup line in the late 90s, early aughts. And I actually met a girl that way too, because it like 1 out of 120 times. But
yeah, and that's a better, like if you name like Deborah, if you just call out Deborah, you don't know what you're gonna get. Becky, yeah. But
that's
still,
fair.
For your Persian mother, could you at least? She
doesn't care. They don't care. We're not like that. And my band's name, one of my 14 bands was named Becky Likes Tigers. So that was one of our bands that I named as well, because it's a great name. But I digress.
We're ahead of the Tiger King curve.
Yes. And our Facebook page is still up, and the picture is a woman petting a tiger. So maybe I need to go back and see if it's one of those people. But I don't think
the same tiger. Is it the same tiger that you have tattooed on your lower back?
Two tiger paws? No, that would be incorrect.
Okay. There's a whole tiger motif going on in your life that needs to be explored further with a psychiatrist perhaps or something. I don't know.
I haven't even seen that show, but I suppose I need to do that. I don't have Netflix.
No, you don't. Not really.
No? Okay.
No. I mean,
thumbs down to Jeannie gave it thumbs down?
No, I mean, it's absolutely a thumbs up, but it's not going to enhance your life in any way, shape, or form.
What really is enhancing our lives at this point in our life? I feel like
I don't know.
We're going back in growth.
Yeah.
So,
all right.
Jeannie, couple questions for you. Let me see if you know. How many episodes? We've had 200 episodes.
Okay.
How many episodes do you think you were in? Take a guess.
Well, based on the number of followers I've gotten from doing this podcast, I would say 0.
Wow.
Maybe, I don't know, 20.
Okay. Is that your final answer?
Yes.
Is that including you being on the episode, or you as voice of reason?
I would say 20 with me as a voice of reason.
Okay. And then you're also side broad.
Yeah. I didn't realize those were 2 separate things, but okay.
Well, I'm just saying, I just want to clarify.
I thought it was about 20 times. I mean, it seemed like a lot more, but I don't know.
The final answer is you were on 42 as the voice of reason, and 1 as just you.
42? 42 times I drove my ass across the city. And one time I think you bought me a burrito.
I did. Yeah, you're welcome. Well, all the money you're making off this podcast. Right?
It's been fun. I've met some of the best people doing this. Some of my favorite people that I've later followed or gotten to know a little bit from this. So you've
gotten personal services from some of the guests too.
You make it sound lewd. You've gotten personal services.
I did not.
Yes, I've had some people do some very nice things for me.
Excellent.
From this and help me out. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Shout out to Sunny, Valerie, 2 very wonderful women.
Yeah. Oh, Valerie Gangus. Yeah, she's coming back on. What were some of your favorite moments on the episodes that you remember, if you have any?
So one of the ones that stands out to me the most, and I don't want to call people out because again, this is, I think, maybe a former somebody you dated or went on a date with, but I remember that this lovely woman, and she is lovely, had the one thing that was the deal breaker for her was that she would not date a man with cloth car seats. I remember being blown away by that and thinking I've set my bar so low in life because
does he have
does he have a running car? Is he borrowing his mom's car?
Does he have
cloth seats?
Does he have one of his molars? One of his Yeah. And I remember always that one really made me think about Gianosa, episode 108.
Yeah. There you go.
Memorize this shit.
And I think it was interesting because it really made me start thinking about my friends that are still single, about why are they still single? Because they're all catches. They're friends with me, so they're obviously amazing. but some of them are, you know, in their 40s, and I wonder, like, are they single because of the standards they've set, or are they, you know, really just having a hard time connecting with people because they're people that want relationships, just not with men with cloth car seats, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
So that is definitely one that stood out to me. For sure.
I love that one because she didn't give a shit that's who she was. And after that, I kind of like respected her more for not, you know, putting it, you know, just dealing with stuff. To her, it was like women who are like, look at the shoes, men's shoes. Like, it's she has this thing, and then we had a lot of comments on that one too, because people were like, holy shit. But in her defense, like, she's right. Like, that does tell you a lot. I mean, I went back and changed all my car seats. So.
I took the car seats out of the back of mine, the kids. I was like, you guys are on your own.
That was a fun one. Yeah.
I liked it. She also, if anybody like knows her, she is somebody who really takes care of herself.
Yeah.
And she deserves to know what she wants and what her value is. And at first, my first instinct to think was that was like shallow, but it, like, when you think about what it represents and then getting to know her a little bit, she is a quality human being.
Absolutely.
And it wasn't shallow. It wasn't, like I've never been somebody that looked at the type of shoes a guy had on unless they were like socks and sandals. And like, you know, but it wasn't the money or the shoes. It was, you know, like what was going to be compatible to me. And if for her, it's the status of the car seats, it says something about just what she's looking for. And I think a lot of people have that, and they never really take the time to figure out what the nuts and bolts are, you know?
Well, also, when you're on these dating apps, which you haven't been on in a while, there's guys who take these selfies in their car, and women do it also. And the women will sometimes like hide the fact that they have a child seat. It's like, why would you hide that? Like, he's never going to find out you have a kid. And for me, that was the equivalent of a man being like, hey, I have a cloth seat, you know, Chevy truck. And she's like, you're not going to mesh with this woman. So.
Right. That's true. I guess, I mean, it's just something that I had never really thought about because I always spent more time in caring about just how I felt about a person and connected with them, that I didn't really care about the car and the shit. But that to me was the first one that really I thought about, like, single people is like, holy shit.
And
maybe I set the bar too low.
Yeah, and to clarify, like, after we did go on one date, but like she was just like, we both became friends out of that. I was like, nah. I know the maintenance that she required, which isn't high, is like way more than I could ever provide a human being. But we're tight friends, and she has a quality guy in her life right now. So
that's very good.
Podcast, 100%. Thanks to the podcast.
He has a nice car too, I bet.
I believe he has multiple cars, yes. And they all are leather seats now that he put in after he heard her on the podcast. Because we create dreams here. We have people who have...
That's not really true, is it? No, it's not.
People have met people through the podcast. A lot of people slide into DMs after the guests are on our show, sadly.
I was really hoping I never had to hear you say that phrase, but okay.
So I use it. Us millennials use it all the time. And before I tell you one of my favorite moments that you were there, do you remember that you at one point were going to set me up with somebody, and then like after like maybe 10 of these episodes, you're like, absolutely not.
Absolutely not. And this is a wonderful, very funny, beautiful woman who could care less what type of car seats you have, but 100% absolutely, it never would have worked. No. And I wanted to keep her as a friend, so I couldn't chance that.
And to be fair, I don't know if we've ever talked about this, but we met, I know through comedy, but I actually dated a relative of yours, and that's how we technically became friends.
Yeah, I think so. And that still blows my mind that I have any DNA related to me that actually found you attractive in any way. If I could be honest.
I loved that like person. I was like, in fact, she was so gorgeous and so cool. And I don't
Look at
remember.
today we're working with Paul.
Yeah, you guys don't look alike, but I was
No,
like, how do you
definitely do
guys?
not.
It's
She
not-
looks like a Barbie. Yeah,
Yeah,
and she's wonderful.
I thought about that recently because I've been doing these. You know, my music company, Shoeshine Boy Productions, is supposed to be our 20-year anniversary this year, and she was at one of those parties with me about, I want to say like 10 years ago. And there's a picture of her and I, and I'm just like, holy shit, like how did I screw this up? Like, and not just beauty wise, but she was a great quality person.
Yeah.
And then I just remember that I was so focused on my music company that I was like, I just never had time for a relationship. And the guy that she ended up marrying after me is like a model. So I feel better. Like he's a really good looking.
And they like surf and like mountain climb and shit together. Like, yeah, shout out to them. They're both the nicest, funnest people.
Yeah, I've never met him, but.
Yeah, but it's interesting to hear you look back on this and be like, wow, how did I screw that up? And you're doing the exact same thing now with comedy, probably with quality women that you do not deserve to even have talking to you.
100%.
And you're probably screwing it up.
Oh.
Yeah, and this very moment, you're probably screwing it up.
Well, it's fun because, like, you know, you think about all the things that are motivated by trying to meet women. You know, I started playing guitar probably to start meeting women, and I started a music company and did bands to meet women. And I don't know about comedy so much, but maybe. And it's like, then you meet the women and then you're so focused on your career and you're like, wait, why am I even doing this anymore? And then you see a picture of your ex with a model surfing and you're like, that could have been me. I don't like surfing, but I could learn, you know? It's like, wow.
But wait, what age were you when you started playing guitar to get girls?
I was 19. I started.
Okay. A little bit later.
Yeah, a lot later. I was.
Do you think you started comedy too for that, or segued into it? Because you've met a lot of women doing comedy, haven't you?
I think when I did improv, I did. I think that was a part of the motivation for staying in it because I met a lot of quality women in the classes, and then like I made friends and I had relationships that way. But when I started stand-up, I think it was like a different rush. Like I was like, oh, wow, this is like better than sex. Kind of sounds cliche, but I mean, now that I don't have it, it's like, yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting because this is just a little bit off topic. I've always have been in comedy for just the pure love of comedy. I've never wanted to be on television. I don't even have enough ambition except to do comedy. That's just all I ever loved. So I can't imagine. And I know there's a ton of men comics, especially that are doing it to get women or that's is like motivating to them. So that's super interesting to me. And I also have to say, I have to remember that we're on camera right now because when you said when you did improv, I went, ooh, like that. Recorded. So not only am I saying like terrible things about 7-Eleven that's going to get me canceled, and they're just.
Oh, I'm keeping track. The racist comment, and now you've.
And you know, I don't mean it because it's obviously the hack thing to go to, and it's like stupid. But now I'm also like going like it's when you say improv, and we're being recorded. So
you're canceled again. No, I agree with you. I kind of like study the crap. You know, I've talked about it. It's like I get obsessed with stuff and like working with older comics who like got to work with like these legends. I love to just sit. There's certain comics I work with that are older and or have been in the industry for years, and I just love hearing their stories about stuff in the 90s and the comedy boom or whatever as they call it. And it's just like
when they were making the same amount of money at clubs that we're making now, still 30 years later. No, it is. It's great.
Yeah. So I can honestly say like that's not a priority to me. It's meeting women that way, especially because now it's like if I do meet someone like I want to come to a show, I'm like, no. Like wait till we're.
Well, I also know that you've been in relationships with women that you like and you enjoy spending time with, but you don't spend time with them because you would never not do a comedy show in order to do that. So
I've lost relationships because I've canceled plans to do a show or like an open mic early on, you know? It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, and which is why you look back on relationships like with my cousin that you say, how did I screw that up? And you're still probably doing it now. And I don't know. I think I don't know if that's a smart thing to do, but you know,
still happily married.
I'm sure you're great company for yourself.
Yeah. She's still married to that guy?
Yeah, happily. I'm pretty sure they're skiing and surfing as we speak.
I don't think I follow her on Instagram anymore. I think
she's probably painful for you.
Or she's still posting?
Yeah.
Maybe
I'm skiing and hiking.
Maybe she blocked me.
And her adorable cat.
Maybe DMs. Maybe sliding in the DMs were a little too much. Like,
do not.
I'm just kidding. I've never done anything like that with her. So going back to we were talking about favorite episodes with you on there. I have a bunch where you weren't on there. Some of my favorite episodes. I was like, oh, do you remember that one? And then I'll be like, oh, she wasn't there. But these are some of the older ones that I remember. Do you remember when we had Bill Cruz on? He was like episode 19. That was one of my favorites too. Bill Cruz.
And I was on that one? Yeah, I do remember that. We were still recording. Yeah.
At the Laugh Factory in Chicago.
Yeah. And he had moved and he came in from town. Yeah.
Just to do the podcast.
What was your favorite? Yeah. You flew him in.
I just thought it was interesting, you know, because I think he was one of our first gay guests, and like he shed light on so many things that you would never think about. Like I learned, that's when I realized the podcast can be like a learning experience for people, because he talked about, you know, how different it is being gay in, you know, in the 80s and 90s as opposed to now, right? And he dates people who never experienced, you know, that.
That's right. Yeah.
So
I remember that, and it being, and he's also just so funny and open.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was such an interesting thing of like that idea of, and I've heard other people say this too, that it's almost a little bit of that, like you get to the point where you're like, well, in my day, you know, like it's a little bit of, you have it so easy now, which I'm not sure that's necessarily true. I guess in a lot of aspects it is. I can't speak to that. I don't know, but it is. Yeah. There's a lot of things that I've learned from just the podcast and talking to different people. Like I never knew that an aquarium could also be called a fish museum for Dale McPeak. I had no idea.
He was on the episode twice, on the show twice, episode 158 and 128. He came back when he was sad. Do you remember that one?
Yeah. And I just remember that line cracking me up. I think he's doing well now too. That's another one that I think.
Yeah, he's in a happy relationship.
Is happily.
He had a quote on the second episode, if you remember. He's like, I don't like to go on those apps. What am I going to do? Go on there. It's like, hey, do you want to be really sad in 6 months? That was the best.
It's pretty much like any relationship. It's like that joke about when, I don't even know what comedian's joke this is, but like when you get your kid a dog, it's like, here, love this because it's going to die.
Yeah.
You know, like every relationship you enter into is, you eventually want to be really sad.
Yeah, it was a fun one. And this fish aquarium was, or fish museum.
Fish museum, which I'm sure he was probably saying it tongue in cheek, but his delivery's so dry. God bless him for finding someone, because
out of his league as well. Very pretty and smart woman, friend of ours. Another funny moment I want to talk about was when we had Tristan Triptow on, and he thought that people were going to call in. It's like, when do the callers come in?
Oh my God. There's another one. He could have been completely kidding. And he's so, the fact that he is still single, granted, he's a very unique individual, but what a quality human being that somebody is missing out on, because he is so genuine and so funny. Why is he still single? Is he?
I talk to him probably three times a week via text. He'll send me something and just we have so many inside jokes because we started comedy together, and Tristan has I think he was being genuine because he was asking me about IGTV or Instagram going live.
Yeah.
He said, "Can they see you?" And I was like, "What?" It's like, when you go live, like, do they see you? I'm like, yes. Like, what are you talking about? So he was being serious when the calls were coming in, but
wait, does he mean if you're on Instagram Live, can you see them? Was he asking?
He was. I mean, that's what I thought. I thought he was originally asking if you watch other people, can they see that you're watching? But he was talking about in general.
Can they see you watching?
Yes.
It's like those terrible videos that I think they're true of there's an office meeting going on Zoom and some woman picks up her laptop and goes into the bathroom. We had that happen on a work meeting where the guy turned around and his shorts were halfway down his ass, and I wanted to be like, can somebody text him? But Tristan wanted to know if they could see you. Oh,
on the IGTV, or I don't know if he was joking, because sometimes we'll tell jokes to each other on there to see if they're funny before we tweet them or whatever. But I think he was being serious, because then the follow-ups were but he's such a dry person, you don't know. But speaking of another favorite episode, that Tristan episode, if you guys want to hear, is episode 28. Another dry and one of my favorite human beings, and also funny, is Ross Kelly. He was episode 17. And that one was awesome because he's so funny in his stand-up. And I don't know if he said it on the episode or talking to me afterwards, but he never talks about himself on stage, right? So the podcast for him was terrifying, talking about dates. And I talked to him last night, and he was in a serious relationship, but he's single again too. So we might have a follow-up with him if you want to come back. But,
yeah, I love Ross. He's one of my favorite stand-up comedians. Some of his bits, I would just look him up, not only on the podcast, but he has one of my favorite all-time bits.
Oh, with the baby.
Yeah, we can't even ruin it. And plus, if I try to tell it, I'll start spitting and laughing, and that's not good for anybody.
For those of you who don't know him, if you go to my YouTube page, he's got a bunch. We've done a lot of clips of for Drink Day Laugh, where he was the actor in there, and then he actually has one of my favorite moments on Everyone's a Lawyer, where you were there, and he's arguing why he should be the lawyer, and he's saying that he successfully won why he should have a dog with his parents in 1990 or whatever. And you're in the background just dying laughing in the episode, and I'm trying not to laugh because he's so dry that sometimes the crowd didn't know that it was okay to laugh.
And he's really good at finding the tiny nuances in life to make fun of. That otherwise you wouldn't normally think of. It's why are all these great people single? I get why you are, but why is Ross interested?
Ross was recently single. He was in a relationship.
Okay. All right.
That just happened. Tristan, I don't know.
Then can we say that then there's also other guests, and I will not say this name. You will not say this name. But there's other guests that you're so clearly sure why they're single because they're batshit misogynist. We had a guest on one time that I will be honest, I at one point considered a friend, maybe even have a crush on, that had started to become a Trump supporter. And you addressed it on the podcast. And I remember saying people don't get that you're joking. And he kind of laughed and shrugged it off. Well, it turns out he's not joking. No. He became a full-fledged neo-Nazi. Oh, I mean, I hate to throw that term around loosely, but some of the shit about just let's nuke countries, blanket statements about full entire races, this is, and hates women, has literally put up posts in the last 6 months, basically saying women are worthless. We get why they're single. Yeah. You cannot say this name. Let people search for it.
I know what you're talking about. And that was before Trump was elected. And I was he's got some, I think Trump is just saying, I remember before the election, I was he's just saying stuff to get, votes, right? Now you're fuck, it's all real.
But I think it was maybe what started getting attention. And then It was kind of like a failing comedian anyways. And I think then it got him this attention that he just sort of ran with and then like brainwashed himself. But it's just funny that we went from talking about two people like Tristan and Ross that are so funny and both quirky in their own ways and, that probably want relationships but aren't finding them. I don't know what Ross's deal is, but I remember Tristan saying that, like he wishes he could have found someone. Then you have this guest who clearly is single for a whole other reason, and it's, apparent, unlike you who has your own issues. At least you're not a whatever.
I don't know what you're going to finish that sentence with.
Well, I didn't want to just say a Trump supporter because it's not just that.
Well, the funniest thing
about with it.
I think that there's a difference between people who vote for, the lesser of two evils. A lot of people voted for Trump, and I get a lot of shit from Trump supporters who listen to the podcast, or people. I shouldn't say they're Trump supporters because there's different levels, right?
Yeah. Right.
I'm talking about the people who are like, and I think Clark Jones maybe said it on the podcast, or he has a comment where he says, he's like, look, if you're, or maybe he didn't say it, maybe it was another comedian, but they're saying if you're like a super fan of your president, whoever it is, like you're a nerd. Like I voted for, I worked for Obama, but like after he won, I wasn't like, ooh, like I'm gonna go to his, it was like, okay, he won, big deal. But like people that still go to those things, it's like, it's not like unless they're taking it as a show, we're like, okay, it's like wrestling. They want to be entertained, but politics isn't supposed to be entertainment, but
no.
But okay, so 42 episodes. Another one that I liked, Patty was on a couple of these, but the one that you were on that was funny was Nate Weatherup. Do you remember his episode? He had 2 fucking bowling balls in his trunk for like, that's
just in case.
Yeah, like who does that? Like
just in case what, you murder somebody and you need a place to store her head? What normal person has 2 and he's very normal. He's very normal. Yes. Probably the most normal guy. But those are the ones you got to watch out for. Yeah, I had 2 bowling balls. Like that is somebody that is I don't know. He needs to just find the right woman for him that's going to appreciate that.
Yeah. The Better Call Saul show, I don't know if you watch it, but there's an episode where he buys 2 bowling balls. And I don't want to ruin the episode, but you watch it. And in my head, I was like, was he going on a date? Like, what's he doing? Like, I don't know. But
they roll different, apparently.
Different. Yeah, like you need for tennis, you need different rackets for different surfaces. Oh, okay. No, that's not accurate.
So then, is that true or no?
No, you always have a second one in case one strings break, but strings break often. A bowling ball does not break.
That's a good chip. I'm trying to make an analogy to my own life. Like, well, sometimes I need like 2 wine glasses, like one without a stem and one with a stem, like if I'm sitting on the couch, sometimes it's hard to lift it up. So yeah, I can get why you need
belly. Like you just hold it.
When you have the wine glass without a stem, you can rest it like right here and just sort of like.
That's what I was picturing.
I know there's a lot of listeners right now thinking, too bad she's not single. I know that. Give it another month of this quarantine and check back with me.
Yeah, I'm really I kept my license as a lawyer because I'm going to be referring a lot of people to some divorce lawyers, and I'm checking in with all my married friends. I'm like, hey, just so you know, I still have my law degree and I still have my license. So if you need to talk when this is over on June 1st, better call Paul. So and I say that to everybody listening as well, that the married people who are miserable right now, which I imagine is everybody. Has anything changed for you from the episodes where you, well, I definitely know you changed where you now realize that I'm an amazing human because you saw that episode where you thought that you actually gave me a compliment on a couple episodes for the first time where you're like, yeah, these women, like, you must be doing something right because they're all still like you because you don't talk to your exes.
Well, I mean, that's not entirely true. But also, was that an episode? Did I have 2 wine glasses with me when I was giving you the compliment? I don't.
I keep track of all of them in my diary.
Yeah.
Episode 38, you gave me a compliment with Bobby Condon as a guest. Episode 100, that was the second time you gave me one. Oh no, that was one when my dad gave me a compliment. Hold on. No, that's it. At 117, where we had Jen Bowser on, a photographer, and and you were like all ready to find dirt on me, and she's like, no, he's pretty normal, and we still talk.
They also realize they're dealing with a lawyer, and they don't want to get like sued for slander. So
well, I make them all sign a non-disclosure statement.
Yeah, I expected as much.
I learned from the best, Donald Trump. So
absolutely.
So, I guess we're done here.
Yeah. No, I can't think of anything else. And I can hear my I'm at home, obviously.
Yeah.
Right. And I can hear my kids stirring upstairs, and at any time they're gonna just like streak. Especially my youngest son, he'll definitely just wait for the right moment to streak, literally naked behind me. So.
Has it happened already?
No, but it's close. He's a real loose cannon.
Learns from his mom. Because I remember you used to show up naked to the podcast. I'm like, Jeannie, what are you doing? Yeah, that was before. You were officially married.
Yeah, that's true.
And the show.
It never happened. It never happened.
Agree to disagree. Well, Jeannie, this has been fun going back 4 years.
200th episode.
What's
right?
that?
This is the 200th episode?
Yes, this is the 200th episode.
I feel like we should have some jazz hands going with it.
No. And what we're going to do is it's going to be called, it's going to be Married for Life, because I've changed my ways, and I met somebody, and I asked her to marry me, and Becky Farahvar will be introduced on the next episode.
I'm sure the other 6 women that you're seeing right now, that's news to them.
They're all named Becky. I only swipe right if the name is Becky.
Is Becky?
Susie's actually my favorite name, but I've never dated someone named Susie. But that's a whole nother.
Okay. Well, there's still time, Paul. Plenty of time.
Jeannie is not on the list at all. That's
good.
That's a name that stirs bad memories and everything. Okay, well, Jeannie, thanks so much.
Try. Make it look like you're giving me a high five.
No, you gotta go like this, Jeannie.
No, it doesn't have to be on the side. You're on the side of me.
No, I'm not. You're above me on mine, so you have to like this.
Oh,
like,
so it's not gonna work. This is where this isn't gonna work.
Go down that way. Go further down. Yeah, keep going down. Boom. There, we did it.
See, you're next to me here. This is not gonna work. We gotta record the whole thing now again.
Oh, I didn't hit record. No, I'm just kidding. All right. Thanks, Jeannie. Thanks, everyone, for listening to another edition. Please subscribe and tell your friends about this. And Jeannie's cousin, if you're out there listening, I'm sorry. I screwed up, but I'm back.